What is chronic pain? Why doesn't it go away?
In the medical field, we typically use the International Study for Pain Association definition of pain, which is an unpleasant emotional and physical experience associated with actual or potential tissue damage. The parts I want to look at is the emotional and the physical element, and they're totally connected. People want to try and ignore that, but using that side of things, we can actually help you treat yourself. You don't actually even need a body to experience pain. People who have lost their legs, amputees, they still have pain. They can still have phantom limb pain. Differentiating between acute and chronic. If you stub your toe or twist your ankle, immediately you're feeling pain. That is a protective mechanism. In other words, watch what you're doing. I'm going to have to protect this ankle or this toe to heal. So it's going to swell up and make you not walk. So that's protective. And within that swelling, the inflammatory cells, the healing cells are there working away. They take time to heal, realign. Over time, the fibrous tissue starts strengthening and toughening things up, and the swelling should decrease. In the medical world, we've taken an arbitrary 3-month period as what is acute pain, and when it becomes chronic, the tissues have healed theoretically, and it's strong and you can walk on it and do everything, but there's extreme pain with people with chronic pain. Why? We still don't really know the answer. How we deal with it is a different way from acute pain because the tissue is healed. What can have happened is sometimes the actual sensors in the nerves have wired wrong. They've regrown in a wrong way or in a wrong place, and they send tiny signals. But the brain has been so used to pain, it amplifies those signals because it's used to that tiny signal and saying, oh, I'm getting that same signal again. Oh, I'm getting that same signal. Meanwhile, the tissue is healed. It is a dysfunction, but there are ways we can treat it. In the Western medicine, the majority way we deal with it is manage it as opposed to healing it. And that is why a lot of it is up to you and the wellness and the psychological side that you can use to do the healing. That doesn't mean to say the Western medicine is wrong. It often is a fantastic element as a small win, and you use that window of opportunity where it is working to do your own wellness to get your body healed. Things like moving. You need normal movement. Often you need supplementary exercises involving a physiotherapist, kinesiologist, occupational therapies. You can also use a lot of the Eastern stuff, the Qigong, the yoga, the Pilates and that. And there's also the mental side of it. Some of the doctors will say it's all in your head in a kind of derogatory way. But in a way, they're kind of true because the patient says, my foot is sore, it's not in my brain. Yes, but you're getting what I term a short circuit. You get one trigger and it circuits the same electrical currents which triggers the pain and the nerves and the anger. If you compare it to something like an epileptic patient, their wiring is a bit wrong in their brain. You give a little trigger. Say with an epileptic, you put a strobe light in their eye and suddenly they have a convulsion. You get that small little message and your brain reverberates and reverberates. Now, the input to that middle brain is from your sensory, from your emotions, and from your thinking brain, your neocortex as well. But your thinking brain cannot work directly with your emotions and this middle brain. And that is why people talk about the mind-body connection. You need to use a language which that midbrain understands. And that is something like mindfulness, breathwork, music, somatic tracking. All those things can work on your mind to affect the body. Now, when the mind thinks its foot is healed, a lot of the immune response changes to a healing process and helps with the healing. The emotion sides of the pain are, as I said, are deeply connected. And that's why when we do our cognitive behavior therapy or a mind-body type stuff, we use breathwork to calm your mind, to calm your emotions, so that whenever you have the trigger, your brain is set to be in a calm operative mode as opposed to a hyperactive stressed mode.